I never expected to be caught off guard in my own home, especially not by my 62-year-old stepmother, Linda. Moving back in with my dad and his new wife was bound to be an adjustment, but nothing could have prepared me for what unfolded that morning. It all kicked off on a quiet Tuesday. Having just returned to town after finishing college, I was looking to save some money before finding my own place. My dad, Tom, had remarried while I was away at school. Linda was a warm, lively woman, able to fill a room with her laughter. She was nothing like the stereotypical stepmom I had imagined, and we got along really well, perhaps even better than I did with my dad at times. That morning, I was in the bathroom, getting ready for a job interview. The shower was on, steam swirling around and fogging the mirror, as I tried to calm my nerves. After all, it wasn't every day you had an interview for your dream job, right? While rehearsing my responses in my head, I heard a soft knock on the bathroom door. "Hey, Ethan." Linda's voice came through, gentle yet clear. "Are you in there?" "Yeah, Linda, just getting ready for my interview," I replied, attempting to sound casual. There was a brief pause before she said, "I'm really sorry to interrupt, but I need to grab something from the bathroom. Do you mind?" I didn't think it was a big deal. "No problem. Come on in," I said, wiping the steam off the mirror. The door creaked open slightly, and Linda slipped inside, wearing a light blue robe with her silver hair neatly tied up in a bun. I assumed she would quickly grab what she needed and head out. However, as she reached for something in the cabinet, I noticed her robe wasn't tied as securely as it could have been. It fell open just enough for me to catch a glimpse of her bare shoulder and collarbone. I quickly averted my gaze, feeling my cheeks flush. "Everything okay?" I asked, striving to keep my voice steady. Linda turned to me, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "Oh, I'm fine. Just needed some aspirin," she said, holding up the bottle. "You nervous about your interview?" "A little," I confessed, trying to divert my thoughts from how her robe was slipping. She flashed me a reassuring smile. "You'll do great. Just be yourself, Ethan. They'll see how wonderful you are." I nodded, thankful for her encouragement. Linda had a knack for making you feel like you could conquer anything. Just as she was about to leave, the belt of her robe came undone, and for a brief moment, the robe swung wide open. Time seemed to freeze. I couldn't tear my eyes away, and I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. Linda, my stepmom, standing right in front of me, completely exposed. She gasped, quickly yanking her robe shut, her face flushed bright red. "Oh my God, Ethan, I'm so sorry," she stammered, fumbling with the belt. "I didn't mean to. I didn't realize. I was just as flustered." It's okay," I replied, turning away to give her some space. "It was an accident, right?" "Right?" she said, still sounding mortified. "Just an accident. Please don't tell your dad, okay? He'd be so upset." I nodded, still trying to wrap my head around what had just transpired. "Of course, it's our secret." She exited the bathroom quickly, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I leaned against the sink, attempting to steady my racing heart. I couldn't believe what had just occurred. My 62-year-old stepmom had walked in on me, and well, she hadn't left much to the imagination. I couldn't focus on anything else, neither my interview nor my future plans. My mind was consumed with thoughts of Linda and the way her robe had slipped, along with the expression on her face when she realized what had happened. It was more than just shock or embarrassment. There was something else there, something I couldn't quite pinpoint. Later that evening, I tried to avoid Linda as much as possible. I didn't want to create any awkwardness, but each time I saw her, I felt my cheeks flush. She acted as if nothing had happened, yet there was a palpable tension in the air that hadn't been there before. I went to bed early, hoping that a good night's sleep would help clear my mind. However, as I lay there staring at the ceiling, I couldn't help but replay that moment repeatedly. I knew I shouldn't be thinking about it. She was my stepmom, for crying out loud, but I couldn't shake it off. There was something about Linda that intrigued me, something that drew me to her in a way I couldn't explain. The following morning, I found a note on the kitchen table from Linda. It simply read, "Ethan, we need to talk." My heart raced as I read those words. What could she want to discuss? Had she spoken to my dad? Was she looking to clear the air? Or was there something deeper at play? Taking a deep breath, I crumpled the note in my hand. Whatever was going on, I knew one thing for certain. My life was about to become a whole lot more complicated. Standing in the kitchen, I stared at Linda's note, my thoughts racing. What could she possibly want to discuss? My mind flickered through various scenarios. Did she want to address what had happened in the bathroom? Or was there more to it? I was eager to find out. My dad was away on a business trip, leaving just Linda and me in the house. I had the entire day to brace myself for whatever she had to say. I decided to take a break from the house, hoping some fresh air would help clear my mind. As I strolled through the nearby park, the events of the previous morning kept replaying in my head. I couldn't shake the memory of Linda, her surprise and embarrassment, the way she hurried out of the bathroom. By the time I returned home, the sun was beginning to set. Through the kitchen window, I spotted Linda busily preparing dinner. I took a deep breath before stepping inside, welcomed by the mouth-watering aroma of roasted chicken. The table was set for two. "Hey, Ethan," Linda greeted me with a warm smile. She appeared composed, but I noticed a hint of anxiety flickering in her eyes. "I made your favorite dish. I hope you're hungry," she said. "Thanks, Linda," I replied as I took a seat. Tension hung thick in the air, unspoken words lingering between us as we ate. We engaged in light conversation, both of us deliberately avoiding the elephant in the room. Eventually, once our plates were empty, Linda placed her fork down and met my gaze. "Ethan, we need to talk about what happened yesterday," she began, her voice gentle. I looked up, locking eyes with her. "Yeah, I've been thinking about it too," I admitted, feeling a wave of apprehension. Linda sighed, brushing her hair back with her hand. "I'm not sure how to express this, but I think we owe it to ourselves to be honest. What happened in the bathroom wasn't just a simple accident. I mean, it was an accident," she continued, her voice trailing off as she sought the right words. "But it stirred up feelings I didn't expect, feelings I thought were long gone." I was taken aback. I had anticipated her to express embarrassment and a desire to move on, but this was something entirely different. "Linda, what are you trying to say?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Taking a deep breath, she locked her eyes on mine. "I'm saying that there's been something between us for a while now. I know it's wrong and I never intended for it to develop. But after yesterday, I realized that maybe you feel it too." I was left speechless, my thoughts a chaotic mix of confusion, excitement, and guilt. I couldn't deny the attraction. Linda was stunning, intelligent, and compassionate. There had always been a connection between us, a chemistry I had tried to ignore. But she was my stepmom, my dad's wife. Wasn't this utterly wrong? "I'm not sure how to respond," I finally managed to say. "You're my stepmom, and my dad." "I know, Ethan," she quickly interrupted, reaching out to take my hand. "I love your father. But what I feel for you is something different. It's like we have this understanding that nobody else shares." Her touch sent a jolt of electricity through me. I knew I should pull away, tell her this was madness, that it could never work. But instead, I found myself leaning in closer, my heart racing uncontrollably. "Linda, I began, but before I could finish my thought, she leaned in and kissed me. Initially, it was soft and tentative, as if she was gauging the waters. But soon, all the pent-up tension and longing between us erupted. I kissed her back, my hands sliding up her arms as I drew her closer. For a fleeting moment, it felt like nothing else mattered. Not my dad, not the potential fallout. Just the two of us caught in an irresistible moment. But reality crashed back in an instant. I pulled away, breathless and my mind racing. "Linda, we can't do this," I said, my voice trembling. "What about Dad? What about us?" She looked at me, her eyes filled with a blend of desire and regret. "I don't know, Ethan. All I know is that I can't pretend these feelings don't exist. But you're right. We need to think about what this means for both of us." I nodded, my heart heavy with uncertainty. I didn't have the answers, only the knowledge that our relationship had crossed an irreversible boundary. As we sat in silence, the weight of our situation enveloped us like a thick fog. The following days turned into a blur. Linda and I attempted to maintain a facade of normalcy, but the underlying tension was ever present, lurking just beneath the surface. When my dad returned from his trip, he remained blissfully unaware of the chaos simmering in our home. I tried to concentrate on finding a job, but my thoughts were constantly drawn back to Linda and that kiss, the way her eyes had connected with mine. One evening, about a week after that pivotal moment, I found Linda sitting on the porch, gazing at the sunset. I joined her, and we sat in companionable silence, watching as the sky transformed into vibrant hues of pink and orange. "I've been reflecting on everything," Linda finally broke the stillness. "About us, about what transpired. I can't stop thinking about it either," I admitted. "It's been on my mind constantly." She turned to face me, her expression serious. "I think we need to make a choice, Ethan. We can either put an end to this now before it escalates, or we can figure out what it truly is and what we want moving forward." I swallowed hard, knowing she was right. We couldn't keep pretending everything was fine when it clearly wasn't. "What do you want, Linda?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She looked at me, her eyes revealing a mixture of sadness and longing. "I want you, but I don't want to hurt your dad. I don't want to destroy everything. I don't want to hurt him either," I replied, my heart aching. "But I can't ignore my feelings for you." She reached out, intertwining her fingers with mine. "Perhaps we should take some time to sort things out, to explore how we truly feel without the pressure and guilt weighing us down." I nodded, squeezing her hand in agreement. "Yeah, maybe that's a wise idea." As the sun dipped below the horizon, we sat there holding hands, fully aware that no matter what happened next, our lives would never be the same. We didn't have all the answers, but in that moment we had each other, and for now that was enough.